How long does it take to rank on YouTube? Like, ranking on YouTube means ranking at the top of YouTube search. What's realistic? If you think your video is a failure because it didn't blow up in the first 24 hours, then you're thinking like a YouTuber, not a business owner. The advantage that you have is YouTube is much more than a social platform. It's a search engine. And when you're talking about lead generation, slow growth always beats a fast spike of views. Most people give up on videos that are just getting started. But what if your lowest performing video today becomes your best lead generator? In this episode, I'm going to show you what actually determines YouTube rankings. We'll talk about how long it actually takes to get your videos ranked and why timeless, searchable videos are actually your secret weapon. By the end of this episode, my hope is that you'll stop obsessing about views and about creating the right type of content that will actually generate leads for your business. Let's dive right in. Let's quickly address some misconceptions about ranking on YouTube. Myth number one, YouTube rankings take forever. If you follow the leaf strategy that I teach, you can post a video to YouTube and have it rank at the top of YouTube search that same day. If your video doesn't perform well in the first 24 hours, it's dead. Okay, YouTube has different algorithms, right? And there's different sources of traffic. So you can get viral traffic, which is mostly from the suggested algorithm or browse, but there's also a search algorithm. If you're focusing on lead generation, you want to focus on that search algorithm, and search does not happen within the first 24 hours. Search is evergreen. Search will continue to happen for years for you. Ranking is all about hitting the algorithm at the right moment. This is also a viral approach. You're trying to find trending topics and launch it right at the right moment. Or you see a trend that's happening and you want to catch that wave. Your target audience has a need, or they have challenges, they have questions that they're asking, and they don't have those problems because a trend is happening, and your expertise isn't relevant by trend. You have expertise. There are millions of people around the world that need that expertise, so we don't need to chase the trends. We just need to create the content that your target audience is searching for. Only viral content ranks well. Educational content doesn't stand a chance. Viral content will appear at the top of suggested and browse feeds, but educational content will appear at the top of YouTube search. There are a couple of ways that people will consume content on YouTube. If they're wanting to be entertained, they'll look at it like a news feed or a social media feed, right? Just what videos are there that I can watch? Which one looks the most entertaining? But the YouTube search engine is used very heavily when people need something, when people have a question. And not only are people using the YouTube search engine to find these how-to videos, but when people go to Google, they'll type in questions and Google will recommend YouTube videos. And today people are going to ChatGPT. And when people need real specific information, ChatGPT is showing them YouTube videos. So the strategy that I teach is called the leaf strategy. It's got 5 ingredients. I'll link to a video right up there if you want to know more detail about how to follow that leaf strategy. Here's the quick summary of what that does. So we do keyword research and we find a really specific question that has consistent search volume every month. So let's say it's a 10-word question. When you make a video answering a question that is that specific and that question becomes the title of your video, you put that video on YouTube and guess what happens? Your video ranks at the top of YouTube search for that specific question. Now, that's a small trickle of traffic. It might only be 10 views a month or 20 views a month, but when you get 10 views from search, that's enough to generate a lead. When you get 100 views, that's enough to generate 10 leads. Now, if it's that easy to find a question and record a video that answers that question and then rank at the top of YouTube, don't you think you might want to repeat that process? Find another question, make another episode. Now you have 2 videos ranking at the top of YouTube. Then you put out a 3rd and a 4th. Eventually, maybe you have 10, then you have 20. Eventually, you might have 50. When you get to that level, and you've got tons of videos ranking for very specific questions on YouTube, now when somebody goes to YouTube or Google and they're typing in a question in your niche, all they find is you because you dominate that topic. How long should I wait before deciding if a video is a success or failure? Let me show you how I track this. So we're looking at a spreadsheet. This is for my client, Noelle Randall. This is a branch. I use a tree analogy, so I call this group a branch. And all of these questions have these 4 words in common. Real estate investor become. Now over on the right, you'll see some yeses, you'll see a starting, and you'll see a no. A yes means when we typed in that question on YouTube, we found Noelle ranking at the top, so we call that a yes. If we had to scroll down, but we still found her in the top 20, that's what starting means, and a no means we did not find her anywhere. So then we started filming some of these very specific videos. 2 months later, on April 18th, you see that we went from 2 yeses to 8 yeses. By May 16th, even more yeses. By July 3rd, even more yeses. So if you start with strategy first and you know that you have a sound strategy, you know that the topics you found are from your target audience, and you map out this branch that you want to dominate, you don't have to worry when you post that video to YouTube and in the first few days it only gets 5 views or 10 views. Because the traffic that we want is search traffic, not suggested traffic. You can track reports like this and see, okay, are my no's turning to yeses? So that's the first sign of success. I'm going to show you a couple more examples of this first sign of success, and then I'm going to show you some other data in YouTube analytics. So here's another example in the parenting space. This is on the disciplined child branch. You'll see at the top here, I created a scoring system. So there are 32 questions that we wanted to rank for, and you'll see I gave a score of 12 here. A yes is 1, and a starting is 0.25. So if you add up all the yeses and startings, that on September 6th, that added up to 12. By October 16th, that we increased that a little bit up to 14. A month later, November 18th, we had increased that up to 22.25. So that's a good way of monitoring your no's turning into yeses. Here's another example where we just filmed 5 videos on December 7th, and we increased our score from 1.5 to 6 out of 11. Here's another example in the construction industry. On October 15th, we had a score of 3.25. And by December and continuing till now, we are dominating 21 out of 21. Okay, so now I'm in the Creator Studio for Nicolene Peck. We're looking at her analytics. She's a parenting expert. If I go into advanced mode and we go to traffic source, you'll see a whole breakdown of all the different sources of traffic for the different YouTube algorithms. You'll see the number 1 source of traffic is external with 49,000 views. This is over a 28-day period. You'll see the next is YouTube search, 28,000. So remember that 28,000. If I click on external, you'll see that Google search is also 28,000. So we're getting 28,000 from YouTube search, 28,000 from Google search. We're also starting to get some search traffic from ChatGPT. You can see on these 2 rows right here. Let me show you a completely different example. This is Dan Good. He's a ghostwriter. If we go into that same report where we're looking at traffic source, you'll see he's actually getting some views from suggested, from browse, and search traffic is on the increase. It's been increasing very rapidly. So in the last 28 days, he's had 1,008 searches. Now, he's actually had a spike in the last month or 2, so I want to get a bigger picture. Let's look at the last 90 days. So 90 days, he's had 3,045 views from YouTube search. Now, if we compare that to the previous 90 days, so period over period, you'll see he went from 1,800 views in the previous 90 days to 3,045 views in the last 90 days. So instead of worrying about how is this video performing, ooh, wow, what about day 1, the first 24 hours? What about the first few days? Don't pay attention to that. If you're turning your no's into yeses, and if your search traffic is increasing like this, you know that the work you're doing is really paying off. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're still excited about having a video go viral, and I've created another video to really help you out so that you could really master this YouTube lead generation. There's a video, I'll link to it right here. It's called Why Viral Videos Might Be Hurting Your Business. I'm excited for you to watch that so you can kind of have a paradigm shift and so you can make YouTube work better for you. So definitely go watch that video next.